I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, and this is Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Heaters are a large point of equipment failures for saltwater tanks. You got a lot of electricity in one place, and if the heater fails, say if a seal goes out or its glass housing shatters, in goes a lot of electricity, and very likely out goes your fish's lives. However, for most of us, we have to run a heater to keep our tanks at the right temperature. Now usually I recommend a titanium heater like I have on my 235-gallon tank. But recently, there's a new kid on the block that might just change my mind. Cobalt Aquatics has brought out their Neotherm line of heaters. These heaters are made of plastic, so they're shatterproof, and Cobalt says they're even unbreakable. Now I'm not going to smash my heater with a hammer to test their claim, so I'm just going to take their word for it. Cobalt Aquatics was started with the idea of bringing quality back to aquarium equipment. Specifically, they target equipment whose production was shipped to the Far East, which often meant a downturn in quality. Now Cobalt, well, they ship their production in Italy. When I first heard that, I thought, Italy? Well, why Italy? I thought about it a little harder and I said, well, what are the Italians good at making? Well, let's see. Cars, food, and nude beaches. So why not aquarium equipment? Having just set up my Eco Pico from Eco Exotic, I needed a heater and decided to give the Neotherm a try. At first glance, a couple things jumped out at me. First, the size of the Neotherm is pretty big for this Pico tank. Now Cobalt does make heaters meant for Pico tanks called mini therms, but since most of us have larger tanks, I went ahead and stayed with the Neotherm. Second, the Neotherm is wide. That's unique. At first I thought it was a little obtrusive, but once I started assembling the heater, the width didn't bother me because it was so thin that its tapered shape let it fit snugly into its holder. I hate heaters that don't stick to the tank, and the Neotherm has stayed put the whole time I've had it. Third, nice big dial on the front. I can easily look at the dial and see what the temp of the tank is and if the heater is operating. The dial also lets me see what setting I have the heater set to. Contrast this with other heaters that have a narrow turn knob on the top, and you can't tell what setting you've just selected unless you can see directly over the heater. With the Neotherm, I can look at the front of my tank and easily see the settings. Okay, so I like the dial, but what about adjusting the temperature? Most heaters have a little knob on the top that's hard to reach, and even if you can reach it, then if you try to turn it with one hand, then the whole heater turns inside the round suction cups. It's really annoying. With the Neotherm, it has a one-button touch right on the top, and you can touch it and the whole heater stays in place. Touch the button, look at the front of the tank, and you can see on the dial what temperature that you're adjusting. It's really nice, and the whole heater stays in place, which is a bonus for me. I was a little annoyed that you can only make a temperature adjustment in 2-degree increments. I like to be able to only make 1 degree changes in my tank temperature, but that's not the end of the world. Another minor grievance is that to set the Neotherm to a temperature lower than your current setting, you have to go all the way around the temperature settings to reach the lower setting. Now I realize this is a result of only having one button on the heater. It's not the end of the world, but it is worth noting. So what about accuracy? I've owned cheap heaters that will be off on their temperature by as much as 4 degrees. To test the accuracy, I rounded up 3 old school glass thermometers, and here are the results. Here's something noteworthy. The Neotherm will hold its temperature setting within half a degree. How's that for accuracy? So am I ditching all my titanium heaters and going only to Neotherms? Nope, not just yet, and here's why. First, I still trust my titanium heaters. And second, they're still working great for me. I simply don't have a need for a heater right now. Now if I was starting a new tank, or if you're starting a new tank, you're deliberating on what kind of heater to get, or if you have a glass heater, which I don't recommend, or your current heater won't hold a temperature setting, the Neotherm can be a good replacement for you, and I'm comfortable recommending them. Lastly, always remember to put a drip loop in line for all your electrical equipment on your saltwater tank. I want you to be a happy reef keeper, and electrocution is a bad thing. I'm Mark Callahan, Mr. Saltwater Tank, and this has been Mr. Saltwater Tank TV. Till next time, have a good one, enjoy your tanks, and know your tank personality.